Very good evening, friends. Meeting again in the Roberts philosophy session, and we are discussing the second chapter, and we are on the concluding part of this chapter, that is the introduction to the study of homeopathy. In this chapter, Robert has tried to give you introductory all the concepts of homeopathy, where he has tried to explain more commonly the first 9 aphorisms, the concept of individuality, the concept of all related with the 7 cardinal principles of homeopathy, then what is logic, how logic is utilized in homeopathy, at the same time comparing it with the allopathy and showing that the scientificity of the homeopathy. In last lecture, we have discussed that he has tried to explain the concept of totality of the symptoms, and he explains that totality of the symptoms is the only thing on the basis of which your present prescription depends. Ultimately, it depends upon individuality. And that individuality, whether the case is acute or chronic, your prescription never depends upon the diagnosis, but it totally depends upon the specifically upon individuality of that human being, which is expressed through signs and symptoms and different aspects. So, unless we individualize and unless we generalize, we never get the individuality. And that's what we have discussed in last lecture. We were there on page number 31. We have discussed the paragraph. The value of generalization depends in its essence upon the data from which it is drawn. The facts must be both accurate and complete. This is what we have discussed in yesterday's lecture. Let us go ahead. Where we have many and clear mental symptoms, they are always generals, for they represent the man in the most characteristic sense. Modalities are again always generals, for they are the natural modifiers of the case. Where there are no generals, Kant says we can expect no cures. So he is very clear about the thoughts. He is explaining all those things, that the approach should be very important. What do you look for? If you are getting good generals, you can individualize the case. If there are no generals, you cannot, because generals are related to the person as a whole. The particulars are related with the pathology, and pathology never individualizes the case. Liver cirrhosis is the diagnosis based upon common symptoms, not upon characteristic symptoms. So, on the basis of name of liver cirrhosis, we cannot prescribe. Then he says the approach of the study of the case and the approach to study of the materia medica are essentially the same. The materia medica is the facsimile of the sickness. Facsimile means it is pratikruti. It is the same picture. So the way we study the case, we study the materia medica. There should be similarity at the particular characteristic level or at the specifically at the general level. At the sensation level, at the modalities level, at the concomitant level, the things which characterizes an individual gives you individuality of that person. So in homeopathy, we never give importance to the common symptoms on the basis of which you make the diagnosis, but we give importance to the characteristic symptoms on the basis of which we individualize the case. Boning Hussein has shown in his repertory that these aggravations and ameliorations are modified modalities and therefore are ranked as generals. Close rates this repertorial work as the greatest masterpiece of the analysis, comparison, and generalization of in our literature. The attempt to limit the application of modality to the particular symptom with which they were first observed has not been successful in practice. So, Boningus's grouping of them as generals was the masterpiece of inductive reasoning. Writing in regard to these modalities, which he considered generals, he says. So, what Boningusen has done? Boningusen has done the grand generalization. There are only 7 chapters in Boningusen's therapeutic pocket book. He has not written the modalities as a particulars, but he has written directly aggravations and ameliorations in the chapter of modality, which are applicable to any symptom because he has generalized them. And this grand generalization is based upon the inductive reasoning, and it is the only repertory in our homeopathy which is based upon the inductive reasoning. All the rest of the repertories are on deductive reasoning. So whatever is true for the part is true for the whole human being. This is the concept of generalization, and this concept is utilized by Boning Hussein, and he has made this therapeutic pocket book. What he says, what Boning Hussein says about it, all of the indications are so trustworthy and have been verified by such manifold experiences that hardly any others can equal them in rank. So, to say nothing of surpassing them, but the most valuable fact respecting them is that this characteristic is not confined to one or another symptom, but like a red thread, it runs through all the morbid symptoms of a given remedy, which are associated with any kind of pain, whatever, or even with a sensation of discomfort, and hence it is available for both external and internal symptoms of the most varied character. So what Boningosen said? Boningosen said that all those modalities which he has written over there, they are the most important generals of the case. If you get that specific modality, you can modify the symptoms and you can think about the remedy very easy. They are very essential, and because of which you can get a remedy very clearly. He arrived at these truths by the inductive study of the facts, and the results were the products of sound reasoning. So he has utilized the inductive reasoning, he has made repertory through his inductive reasoning, and he has made all general modalities under one heading, and because of which it was very easy to repertorize. He has made all sensation in one chapter, and because of which it becomes rather simple. So these are the things which we tried to explain over there are very important. He tried to explain that all the modalities, all the sensations, all the concomitants, they are generals, and you look under one heading over there, and that's why it becomes rather simple to repertorize at the same time to reach to the remedy. We see then that homeopathy is more than the law of similars. It is basically a scientific method of healing which is based upon natural laws and developed by inductive reasoning. It is closely allied with principles of natural growth and development. The whole fabric is summed up in third paragraph of the Organon, where Hahnemann writes. So, what he says, homeopathy. Hello, are you getting my voice? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
So what he is saying over there, it is basically a scientific method of healing because it is based upon all cardinal principles and which are derived from the facts. It is not a thought, it is not a conjecture, it is not a speculation of anyone. It is whatever is there in the organ of medicine, it's completely based upon the scientific formation. So this is fully developed on the inductive reasoning, and the whole fabric is summed up in third paragraph, which is also called as miniature of organ of medicine, and he has written that third paragraph over there again, where Hahnemann writes, if the physician clearly perceives what it is in the disease in general, and in each case of disease in particular that has to be cured, that is knowledge of disease, knowledge of requirements of the disease, and knowledge of disease indication. So you must know the knowledge of diseases in general as per nomenclature. But at the same time, yes, you must know each and every particular disease, how it is expressing in that specific individual. That is what is called as disease indication. If he clearly pursues what is the healing principle in medicine generally, and in each medicine in particular, knowledge of powers of medicine. So knowledge of medicinal powers, that has very important word which he has utilized. It is not just knowing the rush talks. It is knowing the rush talks in different potency. Rush talks in 6, 30, 200, 1M, 10M, 50M, CM. You must able to differentiate how it it is a different remedy in different potency. If you are able to understand that medicinal powers, then definitely your prescription has a very good results. If he clearly pursues what is healing principle in medicine generally and each medicine in particular, knowledge of medicinal powers, if in light of clear principles, he can so adapt the healing virtues of the drugs to the illnesses that is to be cured, that recovery must follow. And if he has that ability if he has the ability not only to select the particular remedy whose mode of action is most suitable for the case, choice of the remedy, the medicine indicated. So third important thing, he should have one more quality, one more knowledge, that is knowledge of application of knowledge of the medicinal powers to apply it to the knowledge of disease knowledge. So that practical aspect of knowledge of medicinal powers, applying it to the knowledge of disease. So if you are able to choose a perfect remedy on the basis of law of similars, then you can get the result. But this is not only sufficient. Along with that, what he requires, but also to choose the exact quantity of remedy required, the suitable dose, that is proper dose, and the fitting period for its repetition, and last, the repetition of the dose. So it is not only the knowledge of disease, it is knowledge of disease with indications, knowledge of medicinal powers, the choice of the remedy, the medicine indicated, the proper dose, then the proper repetition of the dose, and then last knowledge, what is requires, what he says over there. I say he knows all these things and in addition recognizes in every case the hindrances to the lasting recovery and can remove them, then truly he understands how to build up his work in an adequate basis of reason, and he is the rational practitioner of healing art. So he knows the obstacles in the process of recovery, then definitely he will going to get the result. So six knowledges which he has explained in that specific aphorism: the knowledge of disease, common indication, knowledge of medicinal powers, the choice of the remedy, the medicine indicated, the proper dose, the proper repetition of the dose, then the knowledge of obstacles in the process of recovery. And one more knowledge, he has summed it fourth aphorism, that he should likewise be the preserver of health if he knows the things that deranges the health. And that is last knowledge which he has explained in fourth aphorism. And these are all introductory things one must know when he has to study the homeopathy. So in this chapter, Dr. H.A.Robert tries to explain the concepts behind the homeopathy and the indications of it, the all those, so that one can go ahead with the study of homeopathy. So we have finished first two chapters which are important from fourth year's point of view, and now we have to turn towards directly the chapter number uh, 30 22, that is the disease classification. So this is very, very important. Henceforth, the aphorisms are all chapters which are related with the miasms, and we're going to study them in detail, because Robert's understanding of the miasm is rather different. It has a lot of meaning and lot of depth. So from tomorrow onwards, we're going to start with the disease classification chapter, that is chapter number 22. Today, this is sufficient, and we have finished first two chapters from the fourth year syllabus. So that's all for today. Today evening there will be no session of Materia Medica. Tomorrow we'll meet for the Materia Medica session. Thank you and good evening.
Sir,
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Have a good evening.
sir, can you tell us which book we can refer for different potencies acts differently on? We don't have any idea how.
My suggestion is that you must go to the through the video of potency dilemma. There are 2-3 videos are uploaded in our channel. Go through that, and when you go on learning the homeopathy in this manner, naturally you will going to learn about it. We'll take potency session uh, in future, definitely related with all those things, because this is big questions in students and people's mind. But before that, my suggestion, go through those videos on potency. There is playlist, we have made the playlist over there, and potency dilemma. I think 3 lectures are there in that. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.